Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session, the third day of our Virtual Training Institute, our 7th Virtual Training Institute. We're really happy to welcome you to this session, one that I'm personally very excited for. So this one is a session on refugee economic empowerment at LIRS. We're very lucky today to have Non Allen and Molly Tidwell as our presenters today. Just want to give you a quick disclaimer. Just remember that the contents or opinions expressed in this presentation don't necessarily represent or present the views, positions, or policies of the Maryland Department of Labor, nor does the mention of trade names, commercial products, or organizations imply an official endorsement by the Maryland Department of Labor. As you're all logging in, I am going to launch a poll just so we can get a better sense of who's in the room with us today. So if you could just take a moment and vote on what your role is in adult education, and I'll give you a few moments to do that. All right, just about everyone has voted, so I'm going to go ahead and share that. I see that we have a lot of instructors in the session today. A little over half are adult education instructors. That is great because this is information that's going to be very useful for you. And then we also have a mix of program administrators and other staff in the local program. So great to have you. There will be some information that will be shared with you via chat. Feel free to put any questions or any feedback that you have either in the Q&A or the chat. We'll be monitoring that, both myself and Rashawn, who is helping to facilitate today. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our presenters. So thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Or Doug and Molly, just a nod. Okay, awesome. Yep. Like Doug said, I'm one of the presenters. My name is Non Allen, and I serve as a program officer for Refugee Economic Empowerment at Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service. And Molly, do you want to introduce quick, and then I'll jump right into our learning objectives?
Hi, everyone. I'm Molly Tidwell. I'm a program officer for community engagement.
All right. Thanks, Molly. So after today's session, you will be acquainted with these 5 learning objectives. The first, you will be able to walk away with an understanding of who refugees are, the U.S. resettlement refugee resettlement process, and the benefits of refugee talent for our economy and communities. The second learning objective, you'll be able to identify the barriers that prevent refugees and immigrants from economic inclusion. The third, you'll be able to discuss key ways to address barriers to economic inclusion and explore building effective community partnerships. Molly will be talking on this topic. And fourth, you'll be able to summarize the services offered through LIRS's New American City program, which is the career upskilling program under our economic empowerment department at LIRS. You'll understand the eligibility for the program. And then lastly, you'll walk away being able to articulate ways you can support the mission of refugee career upskilling through the work that you do. So thank you again for choosing to be here today and learning from our organization. So we're going to start off this presentation just with a survey question, kind of get our juices flowing. So the first question, and we don't have a poll where you can answer, so you can feel free to just put your answer in the chat or just think about it for a few seconds. Our question is, how many people are globally displaced due to persecution, conflict, violence, or human rights violation? Okay, I do see people being engaged, so thank you. Okay.
We have a couple answers in the chat. We've got millions, 10 million, too many, definitely accurate, 400 million, yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and share the answer for that. As of May 2022, an estimate of 103 million people were displaced globally, according to the UNHRC. Or HCR, excuse me. Can we go back to the, yes, thank you. Our second question for today, how many of those displaced individuals have resettled in Maryland? You can take a quick guess. Okay. Okay.
5,000, 100,000, 2 million, 20,000, 50,000.
All right. So this one, according to the State Department, almost 14,000 refugees have been resettled in the state of Maryland since 2013. Okay. All right, well, we can now go ahead to the first learning objective. So again, just a reminder, this objective is for all of us to understand who refugees are, the U.S. resettlement process, and the benefits of refugee talent for our economy and communities. So
refugees are children, women, and men who've been forced to flee their homes, displaced by war, persecution, or natural disaster. Most likely, they can't return home or they are afraid to do so. As Nan just said, as of May 2022, there were 100 million individuals forcibly displaced worldwide. 2/3 of refugees come from 5 countries. Those countries are Syria, Venezuela, Afghanistan, South Sudan, and Myanmar. So according to UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, by 2023, more than 2 million refugees will be in need of resettlement. Resettlement is the transfer of refugees from a country in which they have sought protection, which is often in the same region as their country, to a third country that has offered them permission to stay with permanent residence. So the United States conducts a very rigorous vetting process for refugees. It takes approximately 2 years to determine whether or not to accept a refugee for resettlement, making refugees the most thoroughly vetted immigrant population. They have the legal right to work, and they have work authorization documentation upon arrival. The US has a long tradition of welcoming refugees, but the resettlement program was reduced to historically low levels in recent years. And although the ceiling set by the administration is to resettle 125,000 refugees this year, reaching that number will be an uphill struggle for the resettlement system and the process.
all right, thanks, Molly. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about who LIRS is. So LIRS stands for Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service. It is one of 9 national refugee resettlement agencies that partners with the federal government in resettling refugees across the United States. We are also one of only 2 national resettlement agencies that also serve unaccompanied refugee minors through our Children and Family Services Department. But for the purposes of today, we're going to really focus on this bucket, the refugee resettlement bucket. Our refugee minor program is served through the family reunification, foster care, and we also serve asylum seekers under the border shelters. So again, we're just going to focus on the refugee resettlement bucket for today. So LIRS was founded in 1939. We've welcomed over 500,000 people to the United States. And in response to the Afghan emergency evacuation, LIRS has resettled over 12,000 Afghan allies since the fall of Afghanistan. Our team has grown to more than 400 employees across the US, offering services and programs in all 4 of these buckets. And to go more in depth, if you're curious of what other organizations or local governments and nonprofits are partnering with the federal government in the resettlement process, Rashawn will put a link in the chat from the organization Switchboard that did a neat little video on the resettlement process through the US government and what agencies partner with the government. So Rashawn, when you get a moment, if you can pop that in the chat, that would be great. Okay, we're going to move on to the next slide. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the structure of LIRS. It is very similar to a lot of the other national refugee resettlement agencies in that it has the structure of headquarters and our partner agencies that really carry out the work across the country. So we at headquarters receive the funding from the federal government, and we partner with these mostly Lutheran affiliate social services organizations across the US to carry out the programs that we are funded to provide. And this is just a list. Our headquarters is in Baltimore, and this is a list of all our affiliate partners in, I believe, 50 states and 28 states and 50 cities. Okay. And just a little bit about under the refugee resettlement bucket of the services that we offer. I'm going to talk a little bit about the initial resettlement services that we offer refugees and immigrants, who we're going to refer to in our presentation largely today as clients. So if you hear Molly and I say clients, blank, 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 we are referring to refugees and immigrants that we serve. So in LIRS, there are two primary programs when a family arrives in the US or our clients arrive in the US. They first go through a program called Reception and Placement. This is the initial program where our caseworkers across the US go to the airport, pick up the family, pick up the clients, make sure they have a hot meal upon arrival, make sure that housing is set up for the family, children are enrolled in school, vaccinations and health appointments are completed, typically within the first 90 days. And then the second phase of a family resettling in the US is really finding stability, building their new life in the US under the economic empowerment and job placement programs. The first of the program that many clients go through is called Matching Grant. This is a fast track toward employment program that eligible working adults are placed in. The hope is that we find employment and self-sufficiency as soon as possible upon arrival. And the second program that we'll really talk in depth in is called the New American Cities program. And this is more focused on long-term employment. This is talking about career upskilling opportunities to really help clients who've been in the US and who are maybe ready to advance in their career after having been placed in their first job in the US and they've found stability and are ready to grow in their career. So these are, again, these are just a few of our programs. We do offer a lot of other programs in the other buckets of the services that we provide. Okay, and we can, and let me look at the time. Okay, we're doing okay. I do just want to briefly mention, we just launched 2 other programs that can come after the New American Cities program. Oh, if you can go back to that last slide. That will come after the New American Cities program, mostly focused on helping refugees and immigrants with financial literacy, saving for assets like a home or a car, or starting their own business. So if you work with students who are interested in purchasing a car or a home, please feel free. Rashawn will put in the chat a few flyers about these other programs that typically come after the New American Cities program as well. The programs are called the IDA, the Individual Savings Account, or Individual Development Account, and the MED program, the Micro Enterprise Program. Okay, now we can move on.
So we're going to talk a bit more broadly about finding employment for refugees and immigrants. As we've seen the power of meaningful employment in the lives of newly arrived refugees, and we understand that an empowered living experience is better for not only our clients, but also the communities that they live in, as well as our organization. So that's why we're working to show how welcoming refugees and immigrants is a win-win for both the people seeking safety and the communities that welcome them. We know that immigrants bring talent, knowledge, and adaptability. Data shows that they stimulate investment, increase our workforce, and make it more productive. They're unafraid to learn new skills and try new things. Immigrants are hardworking and more likely than native-born Americans to move to a new city for a job. They offer a wide range of skill sets and fill critical roles, both in declining and rising sectors. Just think about a couple of dynamics we're all too familiar with today: inflation and the inability to hire. An estimated 78% of immigrants are of working age, compared to just 49% of the US born population. Yet for many newcomers, there's little opportunity to land better than an entry-level job. One of the other aspects of refugee employment is their retention rates and just their benefit to the workforce. So one of our partners, Tent Partnership for Refugees, conducted a study alongside the Fiscal Policy Institute where they looked at retention rates and found that 73% of the surveyed employers reported higher retention rates for refugees than for other employees. Around 15% of refugees work in the manufacturing industry. And in that industry, the total annual turnover rate on average ranged from 5 to 15%, while the refugee rate ranged between 2 and 8%. So across our society and classrooms, workplaces, and other institutions, we find that diversity continually produces more favorable outcomes. So in addition to these retention rates and other benefits, employers routinely report the many benefits of that diverse work environment. Our second learning objective is identifying the barriers that prevent refugees and immigrants from economic inclusion. So resettlement agencies like LIRS and others typically don't have the resources to provide long-term job seeker support. And most mainstream workforce development agencies don't have the experience or capacity to serve immigrants and refugees. This can be problematic for both newcomers and local employers. 52% of jobs require a skills training level that falls somewhere between a high school diploma and a bachelor's degree. But only 43% of American workers actually have that level of training. So refugees and immigrants are uniquely positioned to fill that gap, but often lack the access to connections, educational opportunities, and other resources needed to do so.
Doug, can you move to the next slides? Thank you. I think, keep going.
Should be one more ahead.
Yes, thank you, Molly. So I'm going to continue to talk more about some barriers that are really client-focused, barriers preventing our clients from career upskilling. And some of it will be a little bit touched on from what Molly had just mentioned. So the first, the lack of knowledge of the system. We have really seen a lot of clients who come to our program and say, hey, I have been in this job for many years. I resettled 10 years ago and I'm still stuck in this entry-level job. I don't know where to start. How can I begin a new career? Where do I go to find this training? And who do I speak with? How do I find low-cost trainings? How do I navigate the American Job Center system. And so we've seen this to be a huge barrier to many of our clients who've been in the US for a long time and really stuck in that entry-level job. So that, as well as the second one, the basic needs unmet. Many of the clients who are interested in career upskilling do have other unmet needs that prevent them from being able to take on a better job opportunity, namely transportation. This is a huge barrier. We've encountered several clients who've been offered great new jobs, but unfortunately the jobs were just a little further out than their old job, and they didn't have a transportation opportunity. They didn't have their own car. The bus system was a little too far, or it took way too long. So that client had to turn down that job opportunity, even though it paid more, better benefits. The next, gaps in resumes. Now, this is an issue, or this is something that many clients, newcomers have in their resume. Gaps in employment, largely due to fleeing their country. And this is something that a lot of our local staff have had to train the employers and explain to them, hey, this is what was happening. Please understand, if you see, several years where this client didn't have a job. So we do a lot of training around that area with employers. And again, the next one, accepting the first job that's offered. Like Molly and I mentioned earlier, when newcomers come, they are enrolled in this fast track toward employment program where the primary goal is to find self-sufficiency as soon as possible. And so oftentimes that does mean accepting that first job that's offered. And typically that first job that's offered are entry-level, most likely manufacturing positions that really is not leveraging the skills and the experience and education that some of our clients come with. So that is a big barrier to upskilling. Foreign credentials. A lot of employers have a hard time recognizing foreign credentials, or taking a long time to get those foreign credentials evaluated. And because it can take a long time and it is a costly process, our clients are discouraged and oftentimes do move on to a different career opportunity, even though they hold all this knowledge from their previous work experience. Licensure requirements also takes a long time and can hinder our clients from moving on and growing in their career opportunities. We've also seen clients who are in a job, and within their company, they're interested in growing and being promoted within their current company. However, some of the licensure requirements do take a long time, and clients oftentimes do, rather than pursue that, stay in their current jobs. And then English language proficiency. This is probably one of our biggest barriers to career upskilling. A lot of clients, and many of you on this call may understand, our clients who come and resettle in the US come with very varied levels of English proficiency. So they might have the education and the work experience back in their home country, but due to this language barrier, they're really unable to start their career in the US in the same field, or even if they're ready to advance in their work, but language is the only thing holding them back. So we've seen that be one of the biggest barriers to career upskilling. Okay. So now we're going to focus a little bit on the external things that are barriers to our clients in advancing. And the first one, limited resources. We are just seeing now a lot of organizations, nonprofit, and even the federal government is starting to talk about working with the newcomers and helping them find career opportunities that are in their field. This is fortunately becoming a more and more recognized need, which is great. In the past, like Molly and I mentioned, many newcomers who resettle there have not been historically programs and services that cater to career upskilling. So it is neat that we're seeing this grow right now. I know the White House just launched that New Americans Task Force committee. So hopefully that will bring a lot of great things to come. The next, not recognizing foreign degrees. This is a big barrier that employers hold for our clients who are interested in going into the field that they worked in before coming to the U.S. Again, costly trainings for advancement. This is oftentimes a hindrance to our clients, as many programs that require certifications do cost a lot of money, and our clients are not in a place where they can either stop working and just attend these trainings and be able to, support their families. So that has been an issue. Employers' reluctance to hire immigrants. This we've seen in some new employers who are new to working with the refugee community, whether it is their own biases or assumptions that they may hold about refugees and immigrants in the workplace. We've definitely seen that with some employers. And then the lack of trauma-informed training in work settings. So this one definitely hurts our clients in that many of our clients come from war-torn areas, experienced displacement trauma, separation. And so we are aware that it is very, very important that people in hiring positions are aware and are adequately trained to work with our clients who have been affected by trauma. Okay. Go ahead and, okay. Now we're going to move on to learning objective 3. Discuss key ways to address barriers to economic inclusion and explore building effective community partnerships. Okay. Okay. So now we just discussed some of the barriers that a lot of our clients encounter. Now we'll discuss a little bit about what are ways that we're seeing those barriers being addressed. So the first, apprenticeship pathways that incorporate ESOL trainings. In the last couple of years, in my role, I've worked with a lot of different institutions, private, government, that provide apprenticeship pathways in careers that our clients are interested. However, for many of those apprenticeship programs, clients have to pass some kind of exam to enter. And many times it is that language aspect that prevents them from entering those programs. So we have discussed with certain companies and different WIOA training programs to encourage instructors to include some kind of ESOL curriculum within those apprenticeship pathway programs. Next, case management methods. So here we're really trying to train our local staff when they are providing career case management to encourage staff to talk to their clients about how the client can learn how to access different resources rather than just giving the client the services and doing it on behalf of the client. We really want our staff to teach clients, this is how you advocate for yourself in the workplace. This is how you would find this resource. This is how you would go about introducing yourself to a particular apprenticeship program that you're interested in. So we're really trying to provide that kind of training, and as well as encourage our local staff to start those conversations with clients that career upskilling is important. We want you to use the skills that you have. We don't want you to just come and take the first job that is offered. We want you to explore what are your career aspirations and take assessments, figuring out what are your skills. Even if a client comes to the US never having worked, we want this to be an opportunity where our local staff are introducing this topic of career exploration, taking our clients to different job fairs, learning about different career opportunities. So that is something we are heavily training our staff to do. Knowledgeable about wraparound services. So again, one of the barriers was clients being unable to take a better job opportunity due to other unmet needs in their life. So we want to make sure our service providers are very knowledgeable about other services in the community, whether it be legal help, whether it be food pantries, whether it would be professional clothing. We want all of our staff to be aware of these services so that when a client does come to you, you're able to share that. So all of us on the call, when we work with students, students who are, whether refugees or immigrants or not, we want to be able to be ready and share those wraparound services to them. And then community partnerships. Again, like Molly mentioned, the more community partnerships we have, it is a win-win for everybody, for our economy, for our clients to feel a sense of identity, belonging, and more so having community partnerships with employers and training institutions that offer internal growth. So we do want to make sure that, you know, we have a lot of refugees and immigrants who were resettled in Maryland from years and years ago who do like the companies that they work with and that they work at, and we want to find those opportunities for them to grow within that company. In the workforce system, so here we've worked with several different programs across the US on career upskilling, and have kind of noticed this trend of where a lot of workers in the American job centers are unaware that refugees and immigrants qualify for the IET Title II of WIOA. So we do want to make sure that our staff are taking the time to educate those staff at the job centers. And then the career advising mentorship. This here is really an add-on to help our local caseworkers who provide career advising to our clients. So here the goal is kind of like a mentorship program for our clients to be matched with local volunteer mentors in the community who are in the professional field that our clients are interested in. Now, we hope that this is an opportunity for our clients to grow their professional network. Like Molly mentioned earlier, this is one of the barriers that we see clients from upskilling, is just not having that professional network in the US. So our hope is this is a great opportunity for that. And then again, the trauma-informed training, we are making sure that our staff, local staff providers are trained here, and we are making efforts to train different employer partners who are working with us to hire the clients that we work with. Okay.
So one of the most essential community partnerships for us is developing employer partnerships. And so we recognize that the US labor shortage provides a unique opportunity for refugee employment integration at this time. And we know that companies see refugee talent and the resettlement network as part of the solution to the workforce problem, and they are willing to incentivize our clients to come and work for them. And so, you know, we are seeing lots of interest in connecting with refugee talent across the country with companies large and small. And we are very happy to connect them with our clients, with our network, knowing that a good job offers new Americans stability, independence, and a sense of belonging. And so the companies that are committed to hiring refugee talent, they're willing to create an inclusive and welcoming environment. they are able to reap the benefits of a strengthened workforce and an economy powered by these hardworking and dedicated employees. Refugee employees or refugees, as we mentioned earlier, are legally authorized to work when they come. They bring a depth of experience and education to their work, and hiring refugees creates a diverse workforce with greater capacity for innovation and global perspective. Recognizing the challenges and the advantages that refugees and employers face, we've launched a program, an initiative called the Preferred Refugee Employers program that helps our new neighbors plan for the long term and build life here in the US. So within this initiative, we ask companies to fulfill our best practices for hiring refugees. Things like providing transportation support, allowing, providing ESOL opportunities on the job site, because as I'm sure many of you are aware, our clients may faithfully attend English classes during their early resettlement period, but then once they have a job, they're cut off from those learning opportunities. And so, companies will provide language support on site. And so those are a couple of the best practices we talk about alongside opportunities for advancement. We try to develop partnerships with companies who have, a very clear career ladder where everyone can access, training and continuing education opportunities in order to advance in their career. And so developing, these employment partners across our work with refugees and immigrants is a significant part of helping them not just gain employment, but to have opportunities to be on a career path. So developing collaborative, informed, and committed community partners is essential to the work of welcome for new Americans. And these employment partnerships are one of the most vital. And as we're all in the work of developing partnerships, I want to remind us to consider the impact across all stakeholders in that. Refugees and immigrants experience the stability and independence. As we've mentioned many times, the companies have strengthened workforce. Communities experience increased economic stability and growth. And at LIRS, we're intent on establishing employment partnerships with companies who are committed to that, fulfilling these best practices so that we can place clients not simply in jobs, but see them thriving in the American workforce with real opportunities to be on a career path. And so we want to raise the bar for ensuring that partners have access to training and educational opportunities so that they better understand refugee and immigrant populations. We're looking to have the buy-in and understanding from across the entire organization. Often we've recognized that companies put in maybe refugee talent initiatives, but it's coming from the top down. They're developing corporate social responsibility initiatives, but we want to see that it's not just at the top of the organization that there's buy-in, but that site managers, shift supervisors locally are also having access to learning about this population so that they can, be respectful, that they can be culturally sensitive to things. And so we want, we want folks to have a comfortable place to work for all newcomers. Our next learning objective is we want you to be able to summarize the services offered through LIRS's New American City program, as well as the eligibility for that program.
All right, thank you, Molly. So yes, so this is LIRS's, one of LIRS's economic empowerment programs, career upskilling program called New American City. And this program, our goal is to address many of those barriers that we had discussed earlier, barriers to career upskilling. So the ultimate goal of this program is to empower our clients to achieve career advancement. So what does that mean? So many of our clients are come from two pipelines right now. So one of the pipelines is clients who have been resettled in the United States for many years, who are put in entry-level jobs upon arrival. And now they've been in those jobs for many years and they're ready to advance. So that's one pipeline. The second pipeline is recently in the last couple of years with the fall of Afghanistan and the invasion of Ukraine. We've had clients come from Afghanistan, Ukraine, who have come with a lot of education, a lot of work experience, and we want to guide them into career pathways that really matches what they did before being resettled in the US. So those are our two pipelines. We want to provide them with career case management opportunities. We want to connect them to resources in the community that offers low cost to free trainings. We want to provide them job opportunities that they typically wouldn't find on their own. And a lot of these job opportunities that we find are through employer partnerships that Molly just talked about. And in connecting our clients to these resources, our goal is, again, is to show clients how to do this, help them be able to access these resources on their own. Because when they are finished with this program, our goal is that they will feel confident enough to be able to advocate for themselves in the workplace, to start the job search process, to know the etiquette of the workplace, whether it's with soft skills, whether it's with where do I look when I'm ready for a career in this field, in the healthcare field, in nonprofit, in hospitality, or in IT. So that's the main goal here. The third goal, build coalitions and champions. Our goal is we want to see a change in the community level. We want to bring together champions within the community who have this same mission that the New American City program has. We want to bring everybody together, and we want to all be a part of this mission to educate other community organizations who aren't familiar with refugee economic empowerment. We want to also come together, this coalition of champions, to provide community-wide events to support this mission, whether that be a clothing drive or whether it be a backyard barbecue within the communities that our clients live in, whether it be a financial literacy training that is offered by this coalition to all the residents in Baltimore or across Maryland. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go on to, and this is just a map of where this program is operating. So again, Baltimore is one of them, New York, Denver, Fayetteville, and Jacksonville. And we are seeing a lot of incredible stories come from all 5 of these cities, of the clients that we've served through the New American City program. Okay, so how this program is structured. All of our clients, when they enter the program, they meet a staff who is called the career navigator. The career navigator, their role is to enroll this client in the program, share with the client, what is this program? What is the goal of the program? And are you, the client, are you eligible for this program? And then the career navigator will also provide some foundational job readiness training. Next, this client will be transitioned to work with our pathway builder. And this pathway builder's role is really to assess what are the opportunities out in the Baltimore City or in any of the other 5 or the other 4 cities that are providing this program. What job opportunities are out there? What are the workforce needs? And then they come back and discuss with the client those opportunities within the city and make that match for the client. And through both of these processes, the client is being shown how to do this as well. There's a lot of upskilling training within this whole process given by the career navigator and the pathway builder. And then the third, the building the coalitions. So our staff in each city, they can either create a new coalition around career upskilling, or if there's one that is already existing in their city, they can join those coalitions that are mission driven for career upskilling for refugees and immigrants. And the goal here again is to build that community support, get the community involved. Let's really change this narrative that refugees and immigrants are only good for entry-level jobs. Okay. And then so who are eligible for this program? Here's a list. I won't go through it for the sake of time. And go ahead and go on to the next. And these are the services that are provided under our program. Career case management, it is a 1-year program. So our clients are really given that individualized time together with the caseworkers. We provide job readiness training, career upskilling training, we connect clients to the low cost or free training programs within that client's city. And a lot of times through those partnerships that we have at New American Cities, many trainings do come either free or at low cost because of our partnership with them. We offer the career advising mentorship that I mentioned earlier. And one of our main goals when a client walks away from our program is that our client gets a better job or gets a job upgrade within the company that they're in already. Our clients also learn about the US workforce, and our clients learn how to access all the different resources within their community. Okay, go ahead. And here I know in our presentation, I have a few success stories. And I think maybe for the sake of time, we will drop these success stories in the chat. They are really incredible. So please take a moment sometime this week to watch them. And these are only Baltimore specific success stories. We have many others from our 4 other locations. Okay.
And just so everyone knows, the entire slide deck, the links, as well as the flyers that may be attached, all that will be emailed out to everyone that attended the webinar within a week. So if you miss anything, don't feel like you have to write it down. We'll make sure that all of you get that via email as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Doug. All right, our last learning objective, articulate ways you can support the mission of refugee and immigrant career upskilling through the work that you do. Okay. All right, so for some of these, I know I probably already touched on, but the first is partnering with our program. So if, when you're working with your students, if any of them express that they want a better job or need training opportunities, please feel free to refer them to our organization. We have a flyer of our program that Rashawn can put in the chat. And normalize career upskilling. So in your discussions with your students, building that trust and for the client to feel comfortable to talk to you and sharing with you what are their interests. And even you expressing ideas to them of different career opportunities. Career-oriented ESL curriculum. I know I've had conversation with several workers from the Department of Labor already about having ESL programs that are centered around specific careers. On-site English program. I've talked with several national employers about having English classes on site at the workplace of our clients, especially those workplaces that have traditionally hired a lot of refugees. On-site English class before work starts or during lunch or after work. And again, encourage career exploration. We want our clients to feel the freedom to learn new skills, that they are encouraged if they have an interest in a particular field to explore that. And then you, as a Department of Labor instructor, can volunteer as a career advisor. We are taking volunteer mentors right now. And then lastly, just being knowledgeable of all the different resources within the community should a client come to you and express a need outside of the program that you are serving in. And again, this is our flyers. We are on Unite Us. So please feel free to refer clients to us in that way. Similarly, if we have clients who are in need of different certification programs that's funded through WIOA, we will make sure to be in touch. Our NAC Baltimore staff is Hadil. Even though we're located in Baltimore, we are serving clients all over Maryland. And then if you're interested in being a career advisor, that is the second flyer. Are you interested in mentoring a new American? And we do have training sessions for before becoming a mentor. Okay. I think that concludes our, and this is just a list of all the resources that we pulled together that's relevant to what we discussed today. So when you do click open this slide deck, you just right click on each link and it'll bring you to that resource. And a recap of our learning objective. And I think that is it. Thank you everybody for listening. I think now we will take questions.
So this is the opportunity. If anyone has questions, please feel free to put them in the chat while we have a few minutes. There was one question earlier about how does one get involved as a volunteer advisor? Anything in addition to what we'll be sending out with this?
Yeah, just go ahead and contact. There's contact information on that flyer, and we will be holding a training meeting about the program starting in March, mid-March. So go ahead, just reach out to that contact person. The volunteering is virtual, so not in person, and it does not need to be from Baltimore. Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much for this. If you have any other questions, both Nan and Molly's contact information is on the slide. Feel free to get that either now or if you want to get it after we email it out. Oh, there was a question that came through Q&A. I'd be remiss if I didn't get it. What resources are available in Prince George's County? So anything in particular for PG County that the audience should know about?
So in terms of Prince George's, the skilled immigrant task force, I don't know if they are aware of that task force. And if you're not, you can reach out to me. I'll connect you with someone, with the leader or with the leadership of the immigrant skill task force. They do send out a lot of resources also from in Prince George's County. So that would be my best answer to that. And Rashawn or Molly, if you have anything to add to that.
And then also Joanna, who is the head of the Skilled Immigrant Task Force for the Maryland Department of Labor, just put her email address in the chat. So joanna.winningham@maryland.gov. Feel free to reach out to her as well if you have any more questions about that organization. Another great organization that really connects resources that work for immigrants and refugees across the state of Maryland. So I think that's all of our questions. So I want to thank Nan and Molly very much for this presentation. It's been so informative. And Rashawn, thank you very much for monitoring the chat and help us with that. As I said before, there will be this will be emailed out to everyone probably within a week, the slides as well as the flyers. Also, when you exit the webinar today, there will be a short few question evaluation, and we'd love it if you'd fill that out for us so we can provide that information to our presenters. And we appreciate everyone attending, and be sure to take advantage of anything that's left for the rest of the week for VTI, and also stay tuned for anything you might have missed. I know one person said they missed the beginning of this workshop. These will all be archived and shared on our YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, and please watch the success story videos.